What's going on, you guys? It's the FPL Penguin Calvin back again with another stream for you all, and it's another guest stream. So close to the deadline now. Tomorrow evening, starting with Crystal Palace and Arsenal. But I'm joined by another guest. This is the last guest stream before game week 1. Hope you enjoy it. Great to see a few people in chat already. But yeah, sit back, relax, and hope you enjoy the stream. But my guest, special guest in the stream, great to have him on all the way from Elite FPL. You will know him. He's an absolute legend in the community. It's Steve-O. How you doing, mate?
I'm not a legend.
You are, mate. You are, mate.
Forget
you are,
it.
mate.
I'm not a legend.
Come on, mate. Go on.
Hello.
How you doing? Welcome, mate.
Yeah, as we just said before we went live on air, I'm just absolutely sweltering in my bedroom because it's very hot where I am. But the sun isn't out, which is really annoying. I want a tan. I want to get a tan, Penguin. Come on.
We all want a tan. All right, we're going to start off with the intro. Great to have you here, Steve-O. To finally chat to you. I've chatted to you in the past on your channel about 2 years ago in the pandemic on a virtual FPL with you.
You were sorry to interject. You were a regular contributor to the show.
Yeah.
Genuinely, you were a regular contributor to the show. Would always come on Discord and everything. And like you say, the pandemic hit, and it's just like, I don't know what the words to say is. It's just kind of like changed people's lives. Certainly changed my life. I can assure you.
Yeah, I'm still there watching Elite FPL, but work at the same time and stuff. I'm on and off, but
because you've changed your hours, haven't you?
Yeah. So it's a bit hard for me at the moment to try and also with planning FPL, which is going to be fun as well. But yeah, intro. Steve-O, do this with the guests a lot. Before we get into chat and say hello to a few people, want to get to know you. You, Jason, Dan, Elite FPL, also formerly known as Toby Elite. How did it all happen? Who are you? How did you get to meet the other lads? Tell us about yourself, mate.
So coincidentally, I was talking about this on a members video the other day about how Elite FPL started and how it all came about through Facebook. So 10 years ago, in fact, forget that, 12, 13 years ago, I was doing like the Sun Dream Team and the Daily Mirror Dream Team, all that nonsense. So essentially, I did my own version of a fantasy football game for where I worked, and I'd photocopy all the pieces of paper and everything of the player names and all this nonsense, handed them out to whoever wanted to participate in it, and I'd have to for each week do reports via email. Yeah, emails everyone. Send out these long essays about how people were doing and everything, and it kind of took off. Really, that went on for 2 years, and my mate just went, rather than you having to literally photocopy all the players' names and everything, there's this game that's out for free, and I was a bit dubious about it, so I was just like, all right, fair enough, let's give it a go. And we just brought in various people from that league that I'd set up, whoever wanted to join it. So fast forward to Dan's got a better memory than me. 2014, 15, I think. Maybe even a bit later, maybe 2016. I was watching on Facebook. Remember that platform, Penguin? Facebook.
Still use it, yeah. Still use it.
God almighty. Do you?
Yeah. Kind of bored of it now. Don't know. As I got older now, but
So I just saw one of Dan's videos that he does for his own business. Mm-hmm. And I was really interested by podcasts because I'd only just started listening to podcasts about 2013, 14-ish. Funny enough, it was Mark Southerns and Granville for the Scouts. And I was just fascinated by the fact these two blokes were just chatting about fantasy football. I didn't know podcasts existed. I didn't even know what they were. And then I just started listening to other podcasts and whatnot once I started getting interested in that. And I was like, Dan's really good at speaking, really good. To this day, I think he's very professional the way he speaks. Even you as an individual just doing your intro just now, I'm like, bloody hell, that puts me to shame. I don't do intros like that. It's just basically just get straight on with it. But anyhow, so I just messaged Dan and went, look, rather than me having to write these reports on Facebook and everything, and I see the future being video format, do you fancy doing videos about our mini league on Facebook, and he was like, yeah, why not? Let's just do it. So we went into his bedroom, and it was this tiny little room, and we would just literally sit next to each other, just chat. The funny thing is that the amount of times we were like, oh, you're gonna have to stop it, Dan. You can't say this, and we'd edit as we were going, rather than just like using technology to this day where you can just edit things out. We were just using our mobile phones on some little stand, and we were really panicky about the quality of the show. And the uploads were taking upwards of 24 hours just to upload like a 30-minute video to Facebook. So this is roughly around 2016. The reason why I know all these dates is because when I moved to London, that's when Jason kind of got involved. And it was roughly around 2018-ish where Jason contacted Dan and was just like, look, I love what you guys do. I really want to get involved. And he was, because of he's a graphic designer and he's really good at what he does. I was a bit dubious because I didn't know the guy. I didn't know him. I only knew him through Dan and Pete. Obviously, I know you don't know who Pete is, but Pete Smith was his best mate. And I was like, oh, I don't know what he'll do and everything. And he then started joining us on this Facebook chat and everything. And then I just said to Jason, look, mate, this is taking so long to upload it to YouTube. To Facebook. Could we upload it to YouTube? And he just went, yeah, it's easy. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So we were uploading these videos to YouTube. And then one day we just went, should we just see if we can do this live rather than waiting literally hours to upload a video? Let's, go live, because then we can just send the link to the guys in the Torbay Elite. And Jason at the time was doing phenomenal. I occasionally go back in the Elite FPL history and just kind of look at the videos that we used to do and where Jason used to be. And I think you may have even watched it during the beginning of this summer or something. I can't remember now. We did a nostalgic look back down memory lane of where Elite FPL started. And Jason, there was one moment where he was like 60th in the world. 60th. Yeah. And I was saying to him at the time, we need to help you win the game. Like, because you fast forward 3 years later, everybody's just like doing this kind of thing. But back then, no one was really doing it. And we weren't really knowing what overall ranks are or anything. I couldn't care less. All we cared about was winning the Torbay Elite. That's all Jason cared about. I think that season he ended up like 2000th or something. And yeah, it's just since then it just snowballed, because then once we went live, we had like people coming in. We were like, what's a man Dylan? Who's a man Dylan? Who the hell's Daily Live? I genuinely, this is the truth. When we went live on YouTube, I thought these people were trolls. I just thought, who is this Daily Llama? Like, who does he think he is? Like, commenting to us about our predictions about whoever it was. And then the likes of Boona came along, and there was a guy called Brett Mollison. These are like the very, very early days. And I was just like, this is so weird. And then there was a guy that joined us. I think his name was Jack Gleason. That's his name, Jack Gleason. And he was rivaling Jason. It was fascinating, this fight between these two. And it just snowballed from there to the point of where Jason was just like, I'm loving this. And here we are today where, in fact, we were talking off air actually about the whole pandemic we've been in. And I'm not going to lie, Elite FPL took a big hit. I'm not going to mess about, because during that time, I had to work. I didn't go into furlough, and I was working more hours than normal. And I was getting really, really annoyed because this isn't anything on Jason, but I think he was on furlough. I had my whole house, the housemates, they were on furlough, and I was the only one working. I just wasn't in a good mental state. And I was just hating the fact that why is it that I have to work while all you people get this time off? And it was affecting Elite FPL. In my opinion, that's what I thought. People may not, fans of the show may not agree with it, but I think it did. Mine and Jason's relationship was kind of like going apart because, and we, by the way, we had a conversation. he's not learning anything new here. I actually remember the conversation. Actually, I was in the car outside the gym, and I was supposed to be going gym, and he rang me, and I said, "Look, I think we need to talk." I was in the car park for about an hour and a half chatting with him. We just had an open air conversation. It was great. And since that day, and this was about 2 years ago. It's fascinating. And, because I couldn't stream when he was streaming, he couldn't stream when I was streaming. That's when I was doing all those morning streams, if you remember. I just couldn't do anything because I was doing these stupid hours. And, you fast forward to last year where it was more of a rebuilding again for Elite FPL. And we had a lot of conversations with our moderators about how to improve the show. Some of the moderators got annoyed with what we were saying. We were getting a bit taken aback what the moderators were saying to us, all constructive criticism. And you fast forward to this summer, and I'm, as we just said off air, I'm fascinated by what is going to be happening with our Rivals League and the YouTube chat league, because as I stated to you, talking about a mini league is something quite unique to FPL YouTube, I think. And a lot of people do invest in what we talk about. And as I stated to you before, they get annoyed by the fact that I'm dissecting their teams. And as I mentioned to you before, there was a guy called Show Me the Mane who got really annoyed with Jason. There was a guy called Andy Salter. You may even remember this guy named Andy Salter. He used to come on the Discord all the time. Got so angry that one day he smashed the plate because him and Jason had this rivalry because Jason was doing quite well. And this Andy just couldn't believe the cojones that Jason had for his transfers. And I think this season is going to be a completely different beast with Elite FPL. We're going down the route a bit like what you're doing and what a lot of people are doing short videos. Kind of as Jason discusses, it's what the algorithm wants. YouTube hates live streams, hates them. So why not do a bit of selling out, do some videos, some very basic. I mean, I'm literally doing 3-minute videos about my team. Because I personally like what we were just discussing a minute ago off air about like podcasts and spaces. I'm more of a long form audio listener. So if someone's done a podcast for 3 hours, again, not necessarily fantasy football, but other things that I'm interested in, I'll happily listen to it because I'm into that. And there's a lot of people out there that only like the short form stuff. And I know like our streams last about upwards of 2 hours. And I know people aren't interested in that. So we just thought to hell with it, we'll do shorter videos. So there'll be a lot more of them coming out. I know Alex Volo, he's now back on track. He can now do our thumbnails and everything. We're very, very grateful for what he can do. So yeah, I'm really excited for Elite FPL this year. And we want to win our title back in the Football Blogging Awards. You said we only got 30 minutes. That was 15 minutes. Just
I know. I'm enjoying this. I tell you, I love this. Really enjoy it. No, but like you guys, Elite FPL, you three, well, especially you and Jason on streams all the time. You're good, like good duo. You like the Chuckle Brothers. You like Anton Deck. There's not many. It's like Az and Mark Southerns. There's so many good, duo like two content on one stream, and you two bounce off each other, should we say? You and Jason, and yeah, it's great, and it's really interesting what you say as well, and the whole with going back to Turbo Elite and starting with you and Dan. I go back. Even the other month or 2 months ago, I just love watching. Back from about 2 years ago, just like at the start with Jason on as well. You, Dan, and Jason. Before it's probably I came across your channel when you were at just 200 subscribers. I think that was in early 2019 or something like that. And yeah, like the content you guys put out, and it's just a great listen, like hearing all your thoughts. And this is what I enjoy, like having you on, like we're going to talk about drafts in a minute, hear like guests I've had on in the past, hearing each other's thoughts and, what everyone's doing and banter and everything. So yeah, you, Jason, Dan, all bounce off each other and just everything.
Well, the reality is like, look, we're football fans at the end of the day, and this kind of game has kind of like taken over that in a way. Like me and Dan like talk all the time about how, I'm not going to lie, I find it very difficult to watch Premier League football without. I'm sure anybody watching this or anybody who watches fantasy football content. We all watch Premier League games with an eye on fantasy football. I'm sure tomorrow, in fact, I know for a fact tomorrow evening, Crystal Palace Arsenal, when Crystal Palace beat Arsenal 1-0, and Zaha gets that goal, everybody's just going to be going, what do I go Zaha for? Have you seen the form of Saka? He's been absolutely useless in this game. Martinelli, he was subbed off for 55 minutes. He's done nothing. That's what we're all thinking. Mm-hmm. Odegaard, though, bloody hell, in the middle of the park, he's spraying balls out everywhere. It's fantastic. Keep an eye on him. No one's got him in the team, though, apart from, I think it's Rubber Ducky. I think he's the only person on the planet that's going to be owning Odegaard. But we're all fans at the end of the day. And when even really to this day, we don't set our sights on how many subscribers are watching or anything. We are more about the community and literally delving deep into what these guys do. It's like, in fact, one of my favorite streams that we do, because I don't really like doing the deadline, and I'll be completely transparent, and a lot of the members know this. I'm not a fan of the deadline day streams. I don't mean other people doing it. I mean, I personally don't like doing them because it's not really a conversation. It's just the usual, do you think I should get this player or that player? I'm really not interested. However, the stream that I personally do, and I'm sure Jason will be doing it this year with me as well, is the post-deadline stream where we look at what the top four did in the Rivals League. They were fantastic. Seeing what people have done, because people always go on about what we should be doing before the game week, but people forget what actually happens after the game week's kind of confirmed and during what's going on with the game. And I think it's really important to be covering the games during the week, and it's why this season with the watch-alongs we'll be doing. I made it clear the other day because a lot of people say, "Oh, we love your watch-alongs. Can you do more of them?" I'm like, no, I'm only doing it if it's as a relevance to the Rivals League or the YouTube League. If I always use simple examples of one of the guys, Bilal. He's got a bit of cojones to not just captain the popular pick, but go with an outside chance. He's a Man United fan. I just use the example of him captaining Martial versus Brighton, for instance. And, the majority of us have gone with Salah. And maybe if, for argument's sake, further down the line, game week 22, Bilal's gone and captained Martial again, and he's top of our Rivals League or the YouTube chat league, I'm thinking, bloody hell, I have to cover this game because second spot has captained Mo Salah. It's Man United versus Liverpool. Man United are second in the league. Liverpool are top. There's only a few points in it. This is a vital matchup between Bilal and, let's just use Firetog as an example. I always pick on Firetog. Use Firetog as an example. They're both first and second. Firetog's gone Salah. Bilal's gone Martial. Who's going to come out on top? This is the decider. This match here could be the decider because of the points differences. And I love him, mate. I love the crucialness. I mean, John Harris the other day, I know he's a watcher of your show. He put a clip of the moment where Aguero had his penalty saved by, ironically, Schmeichel of Leicester. And I just went ape. And I'm not going to lie, I felt like crying. I'm not going to get too dark here, but I genuinely felt like crying because I'm like, my season, this was in 22, 23. So this would have been 2020, 21. And this was my one opportunity to finally claw up the ranks because Sterling was the one, I believe, that was fouled in the build-up and he was my captain. And they were playing Leicester and they were battering them. And I predicted something like 4-0 or something like that. And they were battering Leicester. They destroyed them within the first 5 minutes. And then I'm thinking, here we go. I'm doing this watch along because I've got the team here. We've got Geordie Kev and Paulie watching along. And Sterling gets fouled. It's a penalty. I'm thinking, here we go. It's going to be 5-0 this game anyway. Man City have got a penalty. They're not going to miss it. Just like that, he misses it. And I just couldn't deal with it. I genuinely couldn't deal with it. And you can actually hear, this sounds ridiculous, but you can actually hear me almost breaking to cry because I was just so dejected at my captain not getting the assist for the penalty because this idiot has just gone and had his penalty save, despite the fact he scored every single penalty for the past 20 matches. This one time I need him to score to give me that one poxy assist, and then Man City are probably going to absolutely destroy Leicester. I think the game then ended like 1-1 or something. I can't remember directly, but yeah, just crazy. It just brings out the emotion. It really does to watch films.
Yeah. Right. After that amazing intro, everything, 20 minutes, I really enjoyed that. No, honestly, that to me is the best one. Sorry to all the other guests, but I really enjoyed listening to all that, what you just said. I'm sure the chat did as well. But just say hello to a few people in chat. Dan's here, fellow Elite FPL. And also
hello, Dan.
PK as well, Pacey as well.
He's a regular, PK.
Podner, I know him from Elite
Hey,
FPL.
Steve.
He's on your side. We've got John as well. He usually watches the streams. We've also got who has got?
You're doing it wrong, Penguin. You need to do it like Llama. Hello, FPL Sparta John.
And we've got Ramanathan here. We've got Zimmy, and we've got Turbo. Everybody's here. So hope everyone's doing good. We're not going. We've done 20 minutes of that amazing intro, which I enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed
3 hours.
Story time with Steve-O. Let's get straight into this, Steve-O. Great to have you on. This is your draft. Is it your confirmed team? Are you still tinkering around with it? What's happening, mate?
I'll be transparent, mate. So you should know the name Harbour Boy. In our Discord, he put up a team which was a 5-4-1, and I looked at it and I went, "How the hell is he affording this?" It's disgusting. It's disgusting, the team he's put up. And I thought to myself, I think I might have to copy. Not every single player, but I think he's done something there which I really, really like. And my team's changed literally within the last 10 minutes. So this screenshot here I sent you, 10 minutes later, I'm thinking, no, I don't like it. So, however, give or take, this is probably going to be my team no matter what. The majority of this team, I mean, I can send you the new one if you want me to.
You can, please, yeah.
If it's not too much of a hassle.
No.
If I send you that on Twitter, but yeah, if you want to go through it, and then I can just send you that, and then
we'll look at this team right now. What's Lingard? Lingard's an interesting one. We'll get chatting. Is he in your
yes,
comment?
Yeah.
He's still in.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I'd love to get your thoughts on that, because I have been listening to Planet FPL with Mark Southerns on there. That was a good listen. Him being a Forest fan. So, you got at the back, you got Meslier, Trent, Robbo, Cancelo, Perisic, Kulu, Lingard, Captain Mo, Saka, Bailey, and Kane in that old one. Just let me know when you've sent the new one.
Yeah, just send it just now. It's virtually the same team. There's no real...
Here we go.
Many change. I'll be honest with you. It's essentially either I go with Son and Jesus or Kane and Kulusevski. I've changed the goalkeepers because I personally think that, I think you were talking about as well, this Warden Iverson, or whatever his name is, can't go much wrong than Leicester. They are, within reason, more solid defensively than, say, Leeds, Brentford. Who else is there that's 4.5 million? You got all the promoted teams. I don't want to touch with a barge pole. Nowhere near going near Fulham or Bournemouth. Forget it. Nottingham Forest are the ones I'm really interested in this season. Really interested, because they're the only team which I think have come up with which sounds like a bit of confidence, and they actually sound like they're an actual team. Whereas the stuff that's coming out from Scott Parker and is it Marco Silva? Is that the guy in charge of Fulham? I personally think that it's not sounding good at all. Nottingham Forest fixtures are slightly better than Fulham and Bournemouth's. And I'm expecting Fulham, Bournemouth especially, they're completely gone. They're going to be relegated no matter what. Fulham, very high chance, because our mate Tony Khan, he's more interested in AEW than he is Fulham. He'll throw all the money in the world at Fulham, but he just not the right players for their team. Whereas from what I'm gathering from Nottingham Forest, this Steve Cooper is supposed to be a real team builder. And essentially, I think that's what's good for teams. A manager that's confident in his players, knows how to fit everybody into a system, doesn't complain, works with the tools that he's got and gets the best out of them. But I don't really want to be going with their goalkeeper, Dean Henderson, despite those interesting comments he came out with the other day, not wanting to play for Man United anymore, wants to get first-team football and so on and so forth. So he could be one to watch, but I think Leicester, with those 4 million goalkeepers, I think he's saving £1 million, or 0.5 anyway, on essentially 2 starting goalkeepers that play for Leicester. Yeah, there's a very, very high chance that Leicester go and buy a new keeper, but for now, I'm happy to go with it. And with Lingard in the team, you've got to go with tried and trusted players, but you've also got to try and get in the odd 1 or 2 that could be a bit of a differential and could potentially do something that the more popular picks don't do. And I honestly think that Lingard will have something to prove. He's going to be playing in that role in which is pretty much going to be exactly the same as what he did for West Ham, trying to get into the box. And I think everything's just going to pretty much try and get through him. I think everybody's going to be quite reliant on him. And I think for 6 million, why not punt? Why not punt on it? I mean, against Newcastle, it's a very tough fixture, but there's always, with a lot of these promoted teams, no one knows what you're going to get from them. And Nottingham Forest could surprise a few people in the opening few matches. And against Newcastle, can I see him scoring? Oh, yeah, I can. I mean, even in the history suggesting that Nottingham Forest could actually do quite well against Newcastle. So I'm willing to punt on Lingard. I'm willing to go for it because I'm planning on wild carding early. I'm trying to be aggressive this year and try and get on that the players that seem to be performing well. Because every year, no matter what, all these popular picks that we're all picking, they always fail. And then it's always the ones that people aren't thinking about. The simple examples being Bowen, Mason Mount, Sterling. These players, they seem to just hit it off. And we're all then thinking, oh God, why did I go Diaz over Mason Mount? What on earth was I thinking? Not going with Salah. You know, I've gone Son instead of Salah, and look what Salah's gone and done. Where Son's done nothing. We all have these questions after game week 1, 2, and 3, and I want to kind of because we got that third wild card during that international World Cup tournament. I'm kind of happy to use this wild card quite early to try and jump on the better players that are performing, because I know for fact that we are all going to be regretting some of these. I mean, for all we know, these the big at the back could completely fail. So overall, I think it's gone. That team's pretty much template, barring the odd player here or there, which I'm not really concerned with. That personally, for me, is a better draft than the one I sent you. The only difference is that for game week 2, I kind of really want to have Haaland in for Kane. Do that switch. If not, it's going to have to be Son to Kevin De Bruyne and captain Kevin De Bruyne, because I want that second Man City player in my team.
Yeah.
The problem with Haaland is that, he's a world-class player. He's proven it with Borussia Dortmund. He's proven it with Norway. The friendlies he's had, he played 50 minutes against Bayern Munich, seemed to do okay. Against you lot, Liverpool. Do you know what? I was actually quite impressed with him. He made the right runs. I've never seen someone that tall move so quick. But it didn't impress me enough to the point of where I was like, I've got to have him. Whereas Kevin De Bruyne, oh my goodness, he was ridiculous in that game. And I'm frightened not owning him for the Bournemouth match. I've been more concerned about him than Haaland personally not owning, but yeah.
Yeah, just a few points. We'll start off. We'll go back to the Forest one with Lingard. They've got Newcastle, West Ham, and Everton. The first three, I think they're good teams to target. I think I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Newcastle against Forest. I think Forest, we've seen them last season. Obviously, different squad to what they have now, and they beat Leicester. A strong Leicester in the Cup. They beat Arsenal. They just narrowly lost to us, Liverpool, in the Cup. And I think they're going to have a good season, Forest, for sure. A really good season. I think they're going to be like Brentford, Leeds, Sheffield United, how they were in their first season. Lingard is a wonderful signing. Big wages, obviously, he's got. Hopefully that doesn't unsettle the... Because I was thinking it was on Mark Sutherland's on Planet FPL. If there was any, doubt with the whole... If there's going to be like, big egos or something like that, or a bit like jealous of Jesse getting high wages, much higher wages than them. But Lingard, he starts in that sort of like cam role behind Brennan Johnson and the new guy from the Union Berlin, former Liverpool guy. I really do think Forest could shock a few teams, even one or two teams in the usual top six. They've made a good team, some good recruitments, and I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park for Newcastle for sure. West Ham, as I talked about, I think whichever guest stream it was yesterday, West Ham's pre-season, okay, take pre-season like a pinch of salt. It isn't, some people take it seriously, some don't, but they started the starting lineup, West Ham, against a lot of these teams like Rangers, they lost to, and maybe Lens, was it, and Luton, and they had a few losses and a few draws in the pre-season, not many wins. I really do think going for Lingard could be a really good one to go for early. Definitely.
You mentioned Dan and how much you enjoy him on screen and the way the things he has to say. And he's somebody that is always banging on about, always put 50p on a former player scoring against the former club. And I could just see it in the stars now. Lingard scoring against West Ham.
Good.
As you quite rightly state, it's a situation in which West Ham are coming out of the pre-season, without much confidence, losing certain matches. I do think you've got to build momentum. It's why jumping on Arsenal early is a good strategy, I think. I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. You've got to build up confidence. It's Arsenal, for crying out loud. It's not it always frustrates me when people bang on about the lowly teams, I don't know, Bournemouth, Fulham or whatever. And, oh my goodness, Solanke's gone and got 12 goals during this pre-season. It's like, yeah, but look at the opposition that he was playing. And it's Bournemouth at the end of the day. Whereas Arsenal are a top six club, should be challenging for Champions League. They have got a good enough squad to be doing that. And, if they're performing well in the pre-season, then it tells me that they're probably going to do all right at the start of the season as well. It's all about form at the end of the day. And I'm confident with Arsenal, whereas, like you just said, if West Ham, who again are someone that could be and should be challenging the top six, certainly, I think that from a defensive point of view, they're solid enough. David Moyes sets them up in the most perfect way possible, which is just essentially a counter-attacking football. I remember every time I watched them last year, it would just be putting up a brick wall. And when we can get the opportunity to fire off Bowen and to link up with Antonio, they would do it. And I think that the opening stages with a team that they haven't played before in Nottingham Forest, and it's at Nottingham Forest ground as well, I think there's every chance that, Nottingham Forest can get a result. And like I said, I can see Lingard popping off with a goal. And I want to try with Lingard, rather than being the person that starts with, say, Martinelli for 6 million. And then Martinelli, he, against Crystal Palace, he gets an assist. And on Friday evening, we're all thinking, oh, God, he didn't look that great. He got the assist, but Arsenal won 5-0 against Crystal Palace. He got an assist, but he was taken off after 55 minutes. He didn't look that great. Whereas Lingard against Newcastle, he played the full 90 minutes. He got an assist, but he looked like he could get more. And then he's up against West Ham, whereas Arsenal are, I believe, at home to Leicester. Tough fixture. at that point, people are still going to be holding on to Martinelli. He's not going to drop in value. But it's then a case of, well, we've seen what Lingard's done against Newcastle. And then bang, game week 2, Lingard gets that goal against West Ham. Martinelli does nothing against Leicester. People are then thinking, Christ, I'm going to have to swap out Martinelli to Lingard because it's the easy switch. By which point it could be too late. Lingard's gone up by 0.1 and Martinelli's gone down by 0.1. So you're missing out on that 0.2 difference or whatever it is. I'm making up numbers here, but I just want to see if I can get ahead of the curve. Like I say, my team is predominantly template. I accept it. But it's that odd differential, pretty much Lingard, where he could take off. If he doesn't, you know what? Whatever. I can easily, if Martinelli takes off, I could easily switch him over to him. Yes, the prices will dictate this and everything, but I'm happy to stick with Lingard for the. I mean, Everton. You mentioned Everton. Oh God, they're going to be absolutely hopeless this year, and I expect Nottingham Forest to do quite well there.
Great shout. Get on it early because you could be laughing. You could be on Elite FPL after the Newcastle game. It could have hauled big or got something big, and you've gone, fucking hell, yeah, he's done it. Or you could be the other way around. Hopefully not for your sake, saying fuck's sake, he's blanked or something like that. But it's going to be either one or the other. But I think getting him on him early, we know what he can do. He has some good stats behind him. What he did at West Ham on loan, I think he and decent.
And actually, now think about it. When he came on for United last year, he looked all right. He looked okay. He wasn't just sulking his shoulders and, oh, God, I'm coming on as a substitute. He still came on and did all right. And I remember Man United fans, I think Jason even said, why isn't this guy getting a start? Now he's left.
He's lively. He's such a good talent, Lingard. He really is. I know he's got the TikTok side, but he's really, really good. He's very talented. And he's at 29, 30. Now, years old.
Yeah.
But he's still got it, and I think he could really help get the goals and everything for Forest for sure. And I think Forest are going to surprise a few teams. Like I said, maybe 1 or 2 in the top 6, so it's going to be interesting. Just to go on next one now is from Ryan. How you doing, Ryan? Talking about Perisic, because I saw this earlier. Ben Dinnery shared it. I don't know if you saw it as well. You did. As per Conte, Perisic a big doubt, and then he's saying here as well, he said he gives Perisic a start against Roma because he wanted him to feel the rhythm, but he's not yet 100%. Sessegnon will likely start in his opinion. What's your thoughts on it? You've probably seen it about a few hours ago, but are you not that confident with Perisic now? Where's your head at with him?
It's put the frighteners on me a bit. Perisic was always a possibility of not starting game week 1 due to, as what Ryan's just said, the fitness levels. And from my own personal perspective, I don't care. I'm happy to go into that game week knowing that if Perisic doesn't start, he's probably going to come on. Conte hasn't said he's not playing. He's just said the likelihood of him, okay, we can read into it. The likelihood of him not starting is quite high. So I would probably expect, because Perisic is going to play against Chelsea. He's going to play against Chelsea. He wants that experience, that player that played for the likes. He came from. Did he come from Inter Milan, or he definitely has? Yeah, a player of his quality, not only for his club but also country as well. He will be starting against Chelsea through his experience. But against Southampton, he's probably going to get 30 minutes, 20-minute cameo, and it's against Southampton. For all I know, you get something in that 20-minute, 30-minute cameo. By all accounts, I mean, you mentioned Planet FPL. James was saying the other day that he looked absolutely frightening, Perisic, against Roma. He looked like he could have scored a hatful of goals, got a hatful. In fact, he said, and I quote, he was higher up the pitch sometimes than some of the strikers. Wow. Against Roma. So I'm personally perfectly fine going into that game with Perisic. And if he doesn't start, he doesn't start. More fool me. But then how many other people have gone with Perisic and probably are going to go with Perisic? quite a lot. And I know it's game week 1, and probably a lot of people are going to take the words coming out of Conte's mouth as gospel, so they're all just going to get rid of Perisic and bring in Doherty. But, you know, for me, I just think it's a case of I'm not really interested. If he doesn't play a single minute, at least I've got Neco Williams coming off the bench. You know, and apparently, again, according to, like you just mentioned with Mark Southerns, he's very confident with Williams this year. He thinks the teaming up that we'll have with the other player on the right-hand side, because they both play for Wales or something like that, could be gold for Nottingham Forest. So, yeah, at least I've got a backup defender coming off the bench. In fact, that's another thing with this team, actually, as well, is that virtually all of them are guaranteed starters. Again, I know we just discussed Perisic not being that for game week 1, but he's pretty much going to be number 1 for the rest of the season. And Bailey's another one as well, who, he's done very, very well in pre-season. The likes of Karma Baby and Harbour Boy have banged on about the fact that look, they want him to start as well. So I think that, you know, apart from them two, everyone else is a guaranteed starter. And yeah, I'm not too worried about the Perisic news, to be honest with you, unless I get itchy fingers and decide to.
Yeah, just to talk about Haaland as well. I personally, even though we beat them Liverpool, Nunez scored and Haaland didn't, and that's winning the Community Shield, I still feel impressed. I still feel like I want Haaland in my confirmed team, my final team for game week 1. I think he's going to be a really good sign. He looks like he's adapting quickly, like Nunez is for Liverpool. Will you not be worried? You know, like I talked about West Ham looking 50-50 in pre-season, and Haaland kind of. Would you not be worried going to that West Ham game without a City attacker? It's a tough one, isn't it?
History suggests it's going to be a very tight game between West Ham and City over the last 6. Every game at West Ham, so there's been 3 games at home at the Bowling Ground, and they've all been draws: 0-0, 1-1, 2-2. Away from home, they've pretty much, the 3 of them at the Etihad over the last 6 have all pretty much ended 2-1. Tight games. Now, that doesn't mean that Haaland can't be the goal scorer for the goals that City look likely to score, but the fact that this team, for me, in front of me right now, has got a bit more of a better balance, a bit more. But this is a decision I've got to make. I either go with my very, very, very first draft, and this is when the game launched, where I had a 5-4-1, which had them 4 plus Reece James. In the middle, it was Saka's a lock for me. Salah's a give or take a lock. It was Saka, Salah, Neto, and someone else who I've completely forgotten, another 8 million, I think. And then it was Haaland up top. There is a small possibility I may end up going back to that original 5-4-1 or 4-5-1 formation with, if like in the previous team that you just put up a second ago, with the 4-5-1 formation, instead of Jesus it's Kane, and instead of Son it's Kulusevski. That's my bit. That is pretty much my biggest dilemma. It's do I go with Kane / Haaland for game week 1, and I've still got Kulusevski in the. I've always got a Spurs attacker, because Spurs are going to be a different animal this year. They're, in my opinion, have got a very high chance of challenging for the league if they can get through the games like. Again, I'm just taking names out of the tip of my tongue here. The likes of Leeds, Wolves, ironically Southampton, Brighton. If they can get through them games, because we all know that they do really well against the top, that their actual direct competition in the likes of Man City, Liverpool. I remember the game against Liverpool actually last year. You gave them a right bloody good game. Didn't you win? Didn't Tottenham beat you? I remember
at Anfield.
No, at White Hart Lane.
What year was that? What we talking?
Last year.
Last year. Oh, Jesus, my memory's
I saw Tottenham beat you all. It was like a high scoring 3-2, 3-1 to Tottenham or something.
I'll
like
have a look now.
But certainly, you guys seem to do very well against the top four. It's against the other opposition where it's like you get caught out, and it's those games that you want to be getting the 3-pointers for. So I see Tottenham really, really challenging this year, and we all know that everything's going to be going through Son and Kane. It was 2-2, Dan.
Yeah,
right, there we are, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
And yeah, everything's going to go through Son. We all know how good he is. We all know how good Kane is. I mean, I got a big beef with Kane because I just think he drops too deep. But with the new midfield that they've got, maybe Kane is pushed on more further forward this year. We're talking of pre-season, he's done really well this pre-season as well. So you can't have everybody. I mean, I'm sure you spoke to all your guests about the same thing, which is you can't have everybody, which is true. And for me, really, it is just a toss-up between literally these two drafts that you've just been putting up on screen. And it is come down to is either Son and Jesus or Kulusevski and Kane/Haaland. I mean, this year personally, I did it last year and I did really well. But something that kind of helps me with my anxiety and stress with the game is by putting bets on players that I don't own. And it legitimately does help, for real. And if I go with my quote original team, which was that 5-4-1 or the 4-5-1 in which I had Haaland up top, like I said, I'll happily put money on Harry Kane to get the goals or the assists. Not a problem at all. As I said, you can't have everybody, but it's more for me looking at that team there in front of me right now and thinking, I think that just looks a bit better. But you talk going back to the original question about Haaland, do I not worry about not owning him? I do a lot, because I can see him this season getting a minimum of 15 goals in the Premier League. And I think the majority of them are going to come at home against this rubbish opposition.
I'd have FOMO if I didn't have him. I think he just looks deadly, and especially with the way he just, not trying to take the piss out of the way he runs, but he just runs straight at defences, and he just a big character. He just looks terrifying. You watch him in highlights for Dortmund and Norway and all that. And this coming from a Liverpool fan, I have no doubt. I think he's just going to absolutely rock it. I think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to struggle. I think he's got the quality behind him. The Silva, the KDBs, the Cancelos, Mahrez. He's got so much quality around him, and I feel like he's got much better quality at City than he did at Dortmund. So I feel like it's going to really help him. Grealish as well. But yeah, I think he's going to do well. I think I'd have FOMO if I didn't go with him, especially this week.
For City, trying to do a kind of newer system, but with Haaland up top. That's the only thing I took away from the Community Shield is this. How do we play with Haaland in the team? That's what it seemed like to me. Kevin De Bruyne, like I said, looks like he's loving it. He's just been pushed on and on and on. Grealish looked a bit poor. Mahrez was all right. Again, it's against Liverpool. It's Liverpool, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
One of the, if not the best team in the world. Man City are again one of the best teams in the world. But for me, if Haaland's still making those darting runs and getting into good positions against Liverpool, you are right. What's he going to be like with West Ham and Bournemouth? That's why, for me personally, I'm probably going to end up with the team before, but with Kulusevski and Haaland instead of Kane, really. That's for me. But the thing for me, Penguin, is that I've also stated in my... because I wrote down at the end of last season a list of things that I don't want to not do this year. I want to stick with this list. And one of them was go with the history. Because the history is something which normally plays out true in the first opening 10, 15 matches. And the history for, like I said, Man City versus West Ham is poor, whereas Tottenham versus Southampton is it's just ridiculous. In fact, Fulham versus Liverpool. If you're a Fulham fan watching this, you're loving life. Your history against Fulham is pretty good. So all us Salah captainers, I'd be more worried about not having Son. Because the history suggests that Son and Kane are going to have the right barrel of laughs against Southampton. Whereas Liverpool, in for a tough game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I've just I think it was in that COVID season. I remember Fulham beating us at Anfield. There was no fans for them games, and I think was it? Yeah, Fulham beat us 1-0 at Anfield. There you go, Colm. I'll give you
Was it
something
1-0?
to cheer
Was it? I
about.
thought it was 2-1. Okay.
Oh, you could be right. Hang on. No, it was Liverpool versus Fulham in 2021. In 2021, Fulham won 1-0 at Anfield with no fans. And then at Craven Cottage, about 4 months before that, Fulham drew 1-1 with Liverpool. Yeah. So we didn't beat them at all in that COVID sort of season. But yeah, I expect a tough test. They've signed Leno as well from Arsenal. It's going to be interesting. I'd still want to captain him because of the ownership and also FOMO over Mo. I've got back my team as well. See what happens. Yeah, like Dan said.
Going on that, like genuinely, what do you think is going to happen? I'm predicting 4 or 5-1 to Liverpool. Only because I am, as Jason likes to say, an undercover Liverpool fan. Liverpool are my Premier League team, if that can be so. If Burnley aren't in the Premier League, which they're not this year, then Liverpool are pretty much my team. And I love the way Liverpool play. Absolutely love the way they play. They're frightening. They just attack. They just press, attack. And I fear every time I watch Liverpool play, you just know that they're going to get goals. You're pretty certain that it's going to come from Salah or whoever's playing for the middle. The guy that's usually on the left, i.e. Diaz, or if Jota's playing on the left, Jota. Usually they're not as prolific goal scorers. It's usually when they're moved into the middle, that's when they start getting the goals. A bit like no coincidence that Mane last year, when he's put more through the middle, started scoring the goals. Jota, when he was put through the middle, started scoring the goals. Salah, on the other hand, when I saw him in pre-season just training, and when I saw him in the Community Shield, I was thinking, he looks like a different beast compared to the last 3 months of last year. He was, poor for his standards. He looked tired. He didn't have his shooting boots on whatsoever. He still was putting 100% effort in, but he just couldn't get anywhere. Whereas this year, so far in 2 videos that I've watched, well, specifically the Community Shield and the training video I've seen him, he's a different beast. He's a complete. He's got now. Well, from what I saw from a video, he's now got a bit of muscle mass to him. Yeah. He's looking lean. He's looking fit. He's looking really on it. And that's why, when it comes to the history side of things, it doesn't really take that into account. That's why, for me, like with you, Salah captain for me is an absolute lock. But what did Lama used to say on his show? It would be, never captain a player at lunchtime, because they always failed. And every single time he captained a player at lunchtime, it would always, including Salah, always fail. So, do I go with the cojones that I haven't got and go with the history and captain Son over Salah in this specific team here, or in the team beforehand? Do I just go with the whole Kane captain over Salah? Do I have the bottle to do it? And the answer is, with your Penguin, no, I don't.
I just give my thoughts on the Fulham game. I don't feel like it's going to be a 4-5-0 win Liverpool. I'd love it to be that, but I think with the history behind it, and well, obviously Salah, as you're talking about, I've seen that video, you shared it on Twitter, looking more muscular and everything like that, and
bigger than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Watch out, WWE or AEW. Salah's going to sign for you. Salah's all elite. You watch his space. So, no, but I think it's going to be tough. And I do worry they might score against us. That's why I'm a bit contemplating whether to go double low-pool defence or not. Not saying it's still a bad idea to go double low-pool defence long-term, because we're relatively tight. like City were like last season. Both conceded only 26 goals, both City and Liverpool last season. I personally would. I'd be happy maybe with a 2-0 win. I think it's going to be tough. I think the fans at Craven Cottage are going to be right behind Fulham. The backup in the Premier League. They made some decent signings. They look a better side. They've got a better manager that's not Scott Parker. They've got, I think Harry Wilson might miss the match. I'm not too sure.
Yes, I believe he's injured.
In Combetown with that, yes, as well. So that's probably hurt them a bit in attack, but I expect a tough test. I'd love it a 4-5-0. Salah to, well, his EO is going to be up there anyway, so it's not going to make much difference. But yeah, I think probably a 2, maybe 3-0 win for Liverpool. Who knows? But I expect a tough test for sure. Yeah, just talk about your team. Yeah, a bit more about your team before we move on. We've got about nearly an hour now. Time flies. Just one more to talk about. Who's your second keeper on the bench?
It's the other Leicester player, whoever he is Iverson or something like that.
Yeah, so what's your thoughts on this? Just quickly, both 4 million, and the only concern is if they sign another goalkeeper and the transfer window's open for another month, less than a month, should we say, 3 weeks. What are you confident going into game week 1 with, very cheap as well, hard to get a. What's your thoughts on that? Are you not better getting just a 4.5 and then just keep Ward maybe?
So Leicester always concede goals. They're absolutely useless defensively. Anybody that's a betting individual on here, every home game, put 2-1. In fact, I won a few bets actually last year, Penguin. Just putting Maddison to score any time, Leicester to win 2-1. Happened at least twice last year when I did that bet. So they're always susceptible to concede. But they've got Brentford at home, Arsenal away, Southampton at home, Chelsea away, Man U at home, and then it's Brighton and then Aston Villa, Tottenham. They're going to be conceding pretty much in every single one of them games. Can I see a clean sheet in any of them? No, not until maybe Nottingham Forest at home, Bournemouth away, Crystal Palace at home, Leeds at home, Wolves away. So between game weeks 9 up till 13. Whereas all these other options from a 4.5 standpoint, like I said earlier, I don't want to go anywhere near Bournemouth. The one team that I would like to go near, but their fixtures are terrible. It's Crystal Palace, Sam Johnson or Johnston. They are certainly a team that I would love to be able to look into and think and just go, you know what? For 4.5, despite the fact it's saying here as I'm looking at it that there's only a 50% chance of Sam Johnston playing. He's got a thigh injury. But, defensively, they're solid enough. But their opening fixtures are terrible. Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Man City. Those opening 4 are awful for clean sheet potential. Brentford, Newcastle, Man U, Brighton. It's just awful. So I don't really want to be spending 4.5 on them. If their fixtures were better, I'd probably... it'd be a lot higher consideration. Fulham, forget it. Bournemouth, forget it. Leeds is the only next option that I'm looking at with Meslier, because I'm looking back at 2 years ago when Meslier did really, really well from save points. And I know that we used to take calls on the show that were really bigging up Meslier and saying how good he's going to be for the Premier League. And I remember Jason saying, nah, you're all having a laugh and everything. It turned out that he was really good. It's just last season he was terrible. Nottingham Forest, Dean Henderson is a possibility, but once again, their fixtures aren't there. But then again, all these cheap goalkeepers, I only like the 4.5 goalkeepers. But Brentford and Brighton are the only two, so Raya and Sanchez, that I would seriously consider over Meslier. So with Brighton, for example, their fixtures, pretty solid. Can I see any clean sheets? Because I remember last season with Sanchez, his save points were just getting lower and lower and lower, and it was just ending up with him getting clean sheets, but only like the 6 points. But he's got some decent fixtures in the opening 8, 9, 10. Not too bad. And then with the other team who I've completely forgotten, who I just mentioned just now. Who was it again? Not Nottingham Forest. Help me out here, Penguin.
Oh, jeez.
Brighton. Brentford. Sorry. They've got a decent opening set of fixtures as well. But the problem with Raya is that you don't know whether he's going to be starting or not. That's the issue with him. And the other goalkeeper they've got is also 4.5. And I don't really want to be spending an extra 0.5 on a sub goalkeeper. But their fixtures are really good opening up. It's just that I don't have much faith in Brentford this year. I think they're going to suffer with second season syndrome personally. So really, it's a case of either going with these two cheap 4 million goalkeepers playing for a team in Leicester who, in theory, can challenge the top 6, or, as you quite rightly state, get that 0.5 from somewhere. I have no idea where I'm going to get it from, and basically upgrade Ward/Iverson to either Raya, Sanchez. Pickford's an interesting one. But he plays for Everton.
He's only good for England.
Yeah.
Would you not like Meslier? Leeds?
Well, that's the thing. Meslier is pretty much the only other option that I feel confident enough with to be like, you know what? They've got decent opportunity to keep those clean sheets and save points. Meslier is the save points, and their fixtures are pretty good. The opening game against Wolves ain't too bad. Like, Wolves are absolutely hopeless in front of goal. But from what I remember last year, away from home, Wolves were actually pretty solid. So, again, that's all based off memory. I'm probably completely wrong there, but I'm just trying to think how I find that 0.5. That's the issue. And as it stands right now, with this team in front of you, I can't find that 0.5 unless I was to downgrade Perisic with that worry of him not starting and just getting Doherty. That's the only way I can see personally doing that, I suppose.
Right. We'll move on now to my team. Can you see that, Steve-O?
Yes, I can.
You're on the screen. Nice one.
Who's in goal, though? I can't quite see who's in goal.
I'm just going to make it bigger. There we go. Ward, like yourself.
All right.
Got Ward. And Iverson on the bench. De Silva, Crystal Palace play on the bench, and Andreas Pereira. This team here has 0.5 in the bank. Back 5 being Trent, Cancelo, Luka Dean, James and Robertson. Saka, Salah and Bailey in the middle, and Jesus and Haaland up front. Steve-O, go on, be yourself, rip it apart, swear away, do everything. What's what you don't like?
I don't rip apart teams. I don't. I look at the team and I go, which player sticks out? Which is the one that I just think, why have you got him? And I have a guess who I think, why have you got him for? Which one player there?
Luka Dean.
Spot on.
Didn't you? Yeah. That's what everyone else saying. I know Nick from FPL Juice and all that yesterday. Because he takes corners. He did 4 assists. First three games. He's got Bournemouth, Everton, who can't score for shit. Watch them win 2-0. Then they got Crystal Palace. I just want to take a punt on it. I'm not into this Perisic hype as much. I want to have 0.5 in the bank, which I have. I don't know. I think it's a nice, strong defense. I know Luka Dean just probably to you guys sticks out like a sore thumb. But I don't know. What reasons that you don't like Luka Dean? What's it about him?
It's the fact that it's Aston Villa. I can't stand him.
Do you not think
there's no reasoning as to why I can't stand him? It's just the fact they always just seem to let us fantasy football managers down. In fact, forget that. Even real life, when they've got a relatively easy opposition, they fail miserably. They never seem to win. Their results aren't consistent, I don't find. When they seem to get a clean sheet, you think, right, here we go, lads. Here we go. Now we're getting on a bit of a roll here. We can finally, we got our clean sheet against Chelsea. Right then, surely against Nottingham Forest at home, we should get it. And then they go and lose 2-1. It's just crazy. They're just so inconsistent from a defensive point of view. However, you are completely right. From an attacking perspective, Digne has it all. I remember last year, he was somebody that frightened the hell out of me whenever he was bombing down that left-hand side and putting the cross in, or as you quite rightly stated, with the free kick, the set pieces, basically free kicks and corners. I do like the team though.
Thank you.
Reece James, I'm trying to avoid Chelsea to start with. I don't like the noises that are coming out of Stamford Bridge. It happens every... How long's Tuchel been at Chelsea now? 2 years?
Probably 2.5, 3
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Every season without fail, every single Chelsea manager, when it gets to the third year, they fall flat on their faces. They don't get the results that they should do, and then all of a sudden, I know he's not there now, but Roman just got him gone, and then they bring in, I've forgotten his name now, but that Dutch coach, and then he'd turn it around, and then they just bring in the next new toy that they wanted from a management point of view. So I'm a bit concerned about Chelsea, but their opening fixtures are very, very good, and it is Chelsea at the end of the day. I think that you can't go wrong with knowing that they have got every chance of getting a lot of clean sheets in the opening, say, 7 fixtures. I'm already predicting against Everton they're going to batter them minimum of 3 goals. I think that Sterling is somebody, if you want to put some pennies on him to get a hat-trick, do it. Just stick 50p, Sterling hat-trick. You probably get 15 to 1 on that. Certainly 2 or more goals, I think, is a great shout for Sterling. Tottenham at home, forget it. They ain't going to get a clean sheet in that. But Leeds away, Leicester at home, Southampton, West Ham, no chance. Fulham, brilliant opportunity. We know what Reece James can bring as well. Him bombing down that right-hand side. He's virtually a striker at the end of the day. He's just in the middle of... He just cuts in, smashes the ball as hard as he can, and if he scores, he scores. And we know that he can bring in those double-digit hauls. We know this. But no, I this is the thing. When I look at teams like this, I think, what the hell am I doing with my team? I generally mean that. I just think, God, my team is rubbish. You've got Jesus. In fact, there's Karma Baby now. We're just slagging you off, Karma. Jesus there, Haaland. You've got the 2 strikers that everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant. Saka, absolutely love the guy. Salah, you've got that coverage of Liverpool. Trent Robertson, the 2 main guys at Liverpool. Bailey, nothing wrong with him whatsoever. Cancelo, we all know what he can do. We've just mentioned Reece James, Digne. What's the likelihood of this team there for deadline day?
Going with it, I'm saying 90% there. It's just everyone keeps slagging off Luka Dean. It's either like I said, talking about Lingard, he's either gonna return well, keep a clean sheet, or he's gonna probably concede, do an own goal, get a yellow card. Who knows? Against Bournemouth, I like this team. I think I'd rather go Haaland over Kane, only because I've been impressed with Haaland. On the eye test, I'm an eye test sort of guy. And I don't want to waste that transfer because I know a lot of people are saying are going with Kane first and then in game week 2 moving on to Haaland. I kind of don't want to do that. I kind of want to look elsewhere if there's any fires I want to burn out. Maybe ditch Reece James, who knows, and then probably bring in someone like Diaz for City defender. Then I've got triple City, and then that lovely run, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Palace, Forest. I can have double City defence. Go for Diaz where James is. I don't know. I think I'm 90% there with this team. I do like it. Bailey's going to be interesting. A lot of hype behind him. I don't know what your thoughts are. I think you had Bailey in your draft.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's worth the punt.
Worth the punt? Yeah.
The way he's playing in pre-season at the moment, I can't see any issue with him whatsoever. Can't see any issue with him whatsoever. Look, Bournemouth, Everton are 2 games which Aston Villa should be targeting to say, we've got to win these. And we want to put a marker down to say that we're here to mean business. I think Steven Gerrard, he had his first managerial role in the Premier League last year, tries to understand it and everything. Did very well at Rangers, comes to the Premier League, did very well. I know people like Karma Baby weren't particularly impressed by his strategies, but they've got the quality of player that should be able to beat the likes of Bournemouth and Everton pretty comprehensively. Crystal Palace away from home, that's a different ball game. The Crystal Palace at home are ridiculous. Always bet 2-2 on Crystal Palace at home, because they never seem to win games. They just seem to draw, and it always seems to be high scoring. So 2-2. West Ham at home, as you quite rightly stated, we don't know what West Ham are going to be this year. But if we're basing it on just say simply like last year, it's going to be a very, very difficult fixture. And by which point, your strategy of then maybe getting, potentially, depending on how he's doing, getting rid of Digne and Bailey by that point, they could have shot up in price. You've made a profit on that. And quite simply put, I think I love your strategy. Like, I wish I had the brain capacity to be able to do strategy like it, because I just see football as just a case of if I like a player the way he's playing, I just want to bring him in. I'm not really thinking of game weeks ahead. A bit like how last season played out, wasn't it? It was almost like just how the casual player played. It was just, oh, that player scored a hat-trick this week, bring him in. Whereas people like us, we'd be like, yeah, but look at well, not necessarily the stats, but certainly look at the form that he was beforehand and everything. And all the casuals seemed to do really well last year. So I love your strategy. And like you, that's why the 4-5-1 formation with Haaland as my front man only, I think I'm more than likely going to do that, to be completely honest with you. Because like you, I think, again, it's worth that risk to have Haaland for West Ham and just see what he can do.
On the eye test, I was quite impressed. He knows them and other games, Bayern Munich. I just think he looks deadly, like he does for Bournemouth, but Dortmund, should I say, and Norway. I don't know. I think West Ham, they have their problems in defence. I think this new guy that they bought from Rennes, I don't know. I think he got injured in pre-season. I don't know if he's going to make it or not. But I just think Haaland looks good. He looks exciting. He does. But yeah. I just want to add as well for Luca Dean, Karma Baby coming in saying, I like the Digne shout. Thank you, Karma Baby. Thank you. I'm deliberating whether or not to have him, because he could easily outscore a lot of 5.56 million mids in the first 3 game weeks. Villa have the absolute best first 2 opening fixtures.
Yeah.
And then he's coming out again, Karma Baby, saying Gerrard is the boy who has given everything he ever wanted. Has no excuses this season. If we don't finish top half of the table, he'll be out the door, in my opinion. I just want to take a chance, because I'm trying to, with corner set piece takers, Robbo takes one side corners, Trent's there right side as well, Saka takes set pieces. I always see that as a bonus. I always say that getting these players in that take set pieces like corners is always an added bonus. Something to get excited about when you're looking at FPL. Oh, someone scored. Has that person got the assist that you've got, like Saka always taking a corner? Or it's always exciting.
I think that's as well with the likes of the Leicester goalkeepers. If it's a big if they keep a clean sheet in the first game against Brentford, their prices are going to skyrocket, because everybody's going to know, wait a minute, a 4 million player is playing in goal for Leicester. Bloody hell, get him on. Flaming all the other 4.5s, Meslier, Raya, Sanchez, and so on and so forth. They've all conceded a goal or whatever. Whereas this Ward, he's coming with an 8-pointer against Brentford, played out of his skin. He's already going to be 4.1, 4.2 by the end of the week. You've then got that 0.1 profit. The more he builds up in price, you can then maybe, once Leicester's fixtures take a turn for the worse, whatever, could potentially have enough money in the bank to then just easily swap him to a 4.5. But by which point, those 4.5s may have dropped on price, because everybody's then jumped on these 4 million. The likes of, like you say, Digne and Bailey, you can easily make a profit on them if they take off, which I expect them to do so. Like Karma Baby quite rightly stated, like as you've just stated, their opening fixtures are absolutely gold dust. And if they were to get a attack in return, if Bailey was to get a double-digit haul in game against Bournemouth, for example, a goal and assist, and then against Everton he gets an assist, 5 million for a player that's actually getting points. Whereas, Mason Mount, Maddison, Harvey Barnes, to name 3, they've done nothing. Let's get on board on Bailey. And I know I say a lot of people, but us within the Twitter community or even the YouTube community, we see Bailey named a lot. But how many people actually own Bailey? Where's his?
It's 12.
13.9, 14% own him and everything. That's tiny. That's absolutely nothing. And if he was to kick off, and like I said, the likes of these bigger name stars do absolutely nothing. We're in the driving seat. It's like we go back to Lingard, don't we? It's if he kicks off, that's it. People like myself have already got him. Whereas all these people that have got, I know I keep naming these names here, but the likes of Saka, Martinelli and everything, it's like, oh God, why didn't I see it? Why didn't I see the fact that Lingard's going to be doing everything for Nottingham Forest? Mm-hmm. Whereas Crystal Palace, as Steve-O quite rightly said, are so good at home that they've just got their standard draw against Arsenal. The history is even suggesting a draw against Crystal Palace. In fact, there's been 4 draws out of the last 6 between these two teams. But there's lots of goals. Yeah. And our goal scorers, obviously, like Jesus, Saka, can get involved in that. But, it's a tough fixture, Crystal Palace. And this is what I love about talking fantasy football, more to the point, discussing it afterwards, is that I know it's all hindsight, but it just feels always an interesting talking point when the likes of, say, a Harbour Boy asked me a question the other day. He said, "Look, one of the questions that I want to know is who do you think is going to be? In fact, I'll ask you the same question actually. Who do you think is going to be one of the highest game week 1 scorers that's owned by less than 5%?" Now, I turned it around and just basically said, what player do you think is going to do really well that not many people are talking about? My instant answer was Sterling. Sterling away at Everton. Who do you think, Penguin?
Less than 5%. I've just brought it on the screen.
Let's just say an unpopular pick, a pick that we're all overlooking. Who do you think there is that could do really well, that could outshine everyone else? Because my pick is Sterling.
Sterling's an interesting one because Everton are. I'm actually going to put it out there. I think Mason Mount. I think he's the golden boy for Tuchel. I much prefer either him over Sterling. He's cheaper, and I think everything goes through him a lot. And he starts race he's always usually nailed on as well. And like Tuchel really does like him as well. So I think if I had to pick someone, maybe Mason Mount. He's about 10% owned. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on Mason Mount.
Every single game week, whether it's game week 1 or whether it's game week 38, there's always a player that outshines the popular picks. Always. And for me, with the big clubs like Chelsea, Man City, United, Arsenal, Liverpool, for all we know, as I've stated before, we've already discussed the fact that the game against Fulham isn't exactly going to be easy. Nunez could come off the bench, score a header in a 1-0 win. Now, you've already said that you will take a 2-0 win. Well, imagine if it was Nunez scoring those 2 goals.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Like 20% at the minute, Nunez is at the minute.
Really that high? Wow.
Yeah, it's here on the screen. 20%. Yeah, ever since he scored against City in the Community Shield, it went up quite a few percentage. I've been having him in and out of my team. I'm getting that prime Fernando Torres vibes. Back of the days of Liverpool, bit of Suarez in there. I just think he's the real deal. I know I'm biased as hell, but I think I really do like him. And I think he, sod everyone saying before, in early preseason, oh, he's Andy Carroll 2.0, oh, piss off. Honestly, this guy, I think, is the real deal. I think he's going to be very good. He's settling well. And he's like Luis Diaz, quickly adapting to the Premier League itself. And I think he's got some really good players around him. Thiago behind him, Fabinho, Trent, and Robbo crossing in them balls into the box. He showed he can, in the City game before he scored, he was getting on the end of the balls and heading them towards goal. He's making some good runs in the box. I don't know how good he's going to be. I can't predict how many goals he's going to score. But I think he's going to have a really good season and adapt well. He's not going to be a flop. He's shown in pre-season. He scored a few goals against before first half, good strong RB Leipzig side, and scoring that penalty, his first goal for Liverpool, Salah giving him that penalty against RB Leipzig, gave him some confidence. Came back with another 3 goals after that. Score against City, looked lively in that game. I think he's going to be a good player. I really do think so. I'd love to have him because of the fixtures: Fulham, Crystal Palace, United, Fulham. But we're hearing about Jota. He's going to be probably another 2 weeks off. He's going to come back into the Liverpool side. Maybe the front 3 against Fulham might be Diaz, Bobby Firmino, and Salah. But we know about the 5 sub rule. He could come on late in the game, 60th minute, and then if he gets his chance in the 65th, 70th minute at least, something like that, he could score. He might score the winner. It could be a tight game against Fulham. Like you said, he might come on, pop up, and get the goal. Who knows? And get some bonus. Who knows? I think he's going to be a good player. I don't know what your thoughts are, mate. I'm biased being a Liverpool fan, but what's your thoughts
I
on
completely
Darwin?
agree with you. You're fitting into. It's like I said about Nottingham Forest and what Steve Cooper's done with their team, gelling a team together and fitting them into a structure where everybody's happy, and that's what Klopp does with Liverpool. He just gets the right players in the right positions. He's got a healthy competition. I completely think, like what you've just said, that the starting lineup against Fulham, it's going to be pretty much the same as what happened in the Community Shield. Apart from it will be Alisson in goal, other than Adrian. And yeah, I think that Nunez comes on in the 65th, 70th minute, proves his worth, and then after 3 or 4 game weeks, the front 3 will slowly become Salah, Nunez, and Diaz. I've always said that I think that the first team will probably end up being Jota, Diaz, and Salah, because I can see Klopp building for the future where Salah. I have a feeling this is going to be potentially Salah's last season at Liverpool, possibly.
Okay.
And then the following season, the front 3 is going to be Nunez, Jota, and Diaz. I think that's the way he's just trying to slowly build it. But I completely agree with you. I think Nunez is looking on it. He fits into a system which fits him perfectly. And I like you, expect him to do exceptionally well this year. You hear a lot of talk about Nunez versus Haaland, who's going to get the most goals. And I think they're going to come out of it. Probably Haaland on top because I think he'll get more minutes, but possibly equal. Liverpool score goals. They score a minimum of 3 goals a game at Anfield alone. So you'd expect Nunez to be getting a minimum this year of, say, 10 goals in the Premier League, a minimum of 10 goals. And that's just me being conservative. He could easily get something like 20 goals this year, become this breakout star. And we've all overlooked him for Jesus, who's done absolutely nothing in his opening 5 games.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but I do think I'm still contemplating what the hell to do. I'll be ripping my hair out. I've only just grown it back. I'll be ripping my hair out.
I personally think your team's brilliant. I think if you were to deadline...
I think if they brought Darwin in, I think it's going to unbalance the team. I think at the moment it looks balanced, in my opinion. I think it looks
going to take out Robertson?
It's going to... And James, it would just look crap, mate. It looks shit. I've tried it. It totally looks unbalanced. I think I've got to be sensible with it and just kind of go with that. But just to add it, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think the fact that you've got the highest price players in each position means that you can easily switch to whoever you need to. Because if Haaland flops, just bring in Kane. If Kane's flopped, you can then potentially bring in Nunez because Trent/Robertson aren't doing particularly great, or Salah isn't doing particularly great this season. We can all, a lot of the time we are basing our thought processes on like what is the percentage chance on Salah getting an attack in return against Fulham. It's going to be 95%, whereas Nunez versus Fulham, you'd probably drop it down to like 75%. And the likes of, say, Haaland against West Ham, it's then 60% chance. All this is all based on percentages, and it's very, very becomes a very complicated maths equation into likelihoods. But the reality is that you can rely on certain players, and I think that for you, your price points are spot on, and that's why I kind of need to think like you and go, do you know what? This 4-5-1 that I've got at the moment, with Son and Salah in the team and Jesus up top, it probably, like I said, it probably will return to that 4-5-1 where it's Haaland up top, and my only Spurs coverage is going to be Kulusevski.
Just add here, because Ryan's just come in saying Martial will miss the start of the season.
What a shame. Genuinely,
now.
What a shame.
Yeah, just had to look a bit more into it. But yeah, it could have been good 7 million for sure. Does that mean Cristiano Ronaldo will probably stay? Or
God.
what's going to happen? I can't go through. Bloody hell. I personally, this come from a Liverpool fan. I've been telling my guests this. Manchester United have been playing much better as a team without Ronaldo.
Yeah.
It's all the egos and stuff. I know Ronaldo's getting all the goals and sweet and all that, I just feel when I look at them, they just, and in pre-season, look much happier, should we say. Happier. They got a permanent, well-known manager in the world. They look better, and I think they're going to have a better season to last.
It's a bit of a strange analogy, but it's not, or a comparison, whatever terminology you want to use. But you take like your own place of work. I don't know what you do for a job. I don't need to know, but you take your own place of work. And for instance, in my place of work, the manager or certain managers, when they're there, the atmosphere is toxic. Everybody hates this individual. Yeah, they're good at their job, but everybody doesn't work as a team. And the productivity goes down, ironically, even though this person's making the right decisions and making sure that the work gets done. Everybody's hating work in there. People aren't enjoying it. The productivity goes down. And guess what? The results show that. Whereas, surprise, surprise, like you're saying about Ronaldo not being at Man United, and I completely agree with you. Surprise, surprise, the team actually perform better. They actually get results. People are happier, which, like I said, that breeds results. And I think that with Martial out for however long he's going to be out for. He says they're a hamstring injury. Depending on the severity of it, he could be out for up to 5 weeks.
Could be. Just say hello to a few more people. Blonde in chat as well. Blonde from Elite FPL. But yeah, we'll probably start to wrap things up now. Any last minute thoughts, Steve, or anything you want to add before we sign off? Really appreciate you coming on, taking the time. We've got an hour and 30 minutes now, but been a great stream. Anything? No, really enjoyed it, mate. Absolutely amazing. Anything you want to add?
I just want to say that, look, I'm just really looking forward to this season. Obviously, you've got your league that you've set up this year with a load of content creators in. How serious are you going to be taking that?
Probably very serious. It's going to be talked about every single week.
Let's not mess about here. You're a good player. You did really. It was last year. You did really well, wasn't it?
Oh, it's better than the season before that. The season before that was 1.7 million. Had a shit season, and then the last season I finished 140k, which is my best. I'm no expert. I'm a veteran, but I bottled it.
I beat you.
Okay. I bottled it in April. Maybe job wise. Thank you. Any job. But I didn't have Son or Kane. That ruined my rank. It did. And I just panicked in April time, and it just all went downhill for me. I was like 60, 50k in April. And then Son and Kane, I just panicked like man, not owning them. And I just went downhill. It didn't help with my job and stuff and working later shifts. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. It was like...
Isn't it funny, like, from that perspective, how work can legitimately affect your time playing this game? Because Jason's the same. Jason was exactly the same last year. He had a completely new job and had to concentrate on that more. It was very difficult to do an FPL work balance, if you want to call it that. I know Firetog's taken the mick out of me before, but he said the only reason why you did well is because you were off sick for several weeks. And that's the only reason why. And you could potentially argue that is the case. Jason made a very good point that actually maybe it's because you're doing lots of members videos that you're actually able to look at your own decision making and correct your own thought processes. And that's why this year with the members videos we'll be doing, there will be a lot more of it. So maybe it will help my decision making. And yeah, do you put for instance, like you said last year, down to the fact that you changed job shifts and whatnot, down to the reason why you took a dip?
Yeah, it was just working later shifts and working in the evening shifts and getting home late, and then it was difficult. It was difficult, and so it really did make an impact for sure. Because I was doing, I'm not trying to brag, I was doing all right. I was up there and like before I got the job, like at top 30k, top 40k.
Yeah.
And it can make that impact. It can, because you're fully concentrated on your job, everything, and it's your job at the end of the day, and working hard and everything, and getting your money's worth, getting your money and everything, your wages, and just working hard. But yeah, it is a tough one, but it did take over. It did. FPL just kind of took a step back, should we say, a big step back for me. But yeah,
is there anybody? I'm just looking through this league that you've got here. Who do you think is the biggest competition to be challenging for number one? I mean, you've got Tom from Who Got the Assist in there, Nathan Bacon's in there, Brett from FPL TV in there.
Are you joining it, Steve? Are you hopping in, or are you going to be joining, or?
Yeah, I'm already in.
Are you in it? Oh, I didn't.
Yes, of course I am. Yeah,
I didn't really. We didn't really talk about it, what I mean? So I'm just making sure. Anyway, I think the biggest one. I think Nima's in there. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. Just I can bring it on the screen. Let me bring it on the screen, and we'll have a good look, and then we'll sign off then. But who in that league, Steve-O, would you say that you're looking forward to having a good, keeping a good eye on? You know what I mean? Any names in there that you recognise?
Like I said, I think Tom from Who Got the Assist is somebody that stands out immediately. You've got, like I say, Nathan Bacon last year did exceptionally well. Like he pulled it out the bag last year. I say Brett from FPL TV. You've got Ash from FPL Hints in there. I think certainly GW1 is in there as well. He's very good at the game.
Got James in there from Planet FPL.
Yes, yeah. So I'm genuinely quite interested to see how all these people do, to be honest with you. But so, James is an interesting one because he is very analytical when it comes to fantasy football and the logical steps on the transfer. Now, admittedly, it works more for Sky than it does for FPL, but certainly he, from a transfer point of view, and obviously the chip strategies that they do, is very, very in depth. And I always find it fascinating to listen to what he has to say regarding strategies. But from my perspective, because in the Content Creators League that I was in last year, I had all the big boys. From FPL Mate, Andy, Let's Talk FPL, Mark Southerns, every YouTube celebrity, as I call them, out there was in it. And I couldn't believe some of the names that I personally had beaten. And we all have different ways of playing this game, different strategies and everything. And from my personal perspective, my strategy is always go within reason, tried and tested players, and then use the eye test to work out who you want to bring in. Because this is only last year was my first official year of paying for Sky Sports. The year before that, because it was all on terrestrial TV, and some of the kind members of Elite FPL offered to pay for certain services, so I'm able to watch the football. So I've only actually watched Premier League football for 2 years. That's it. I've never ever watched Premier League football prior to that, other than on say Match of the Day and stuff. But even then, I didn't even really watch it. So for me, the eye test is very, very key. So I'll be using that a lot more this year. I mean, even on game week 1, for crying out loud, there's 5 matches available to watch. And I just want to be able to look at these players, specifically from the big clubs, and try and find that gem. Try and find that one player where I'm like, do you know what? I've got my own thought process about that individual. Let's see what he's like in this game. before I want to bring him in. And if he looks like he's on it, he's on it. That's why the one person FOMO wise is Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I had Kevin De Bruyne in my earlier drafts when the game bloody launched over Haaland. I think I tried to go for a double up with him and Haaland earlier this month, last month. And Kevin De Bruyne, he's the GOAT in the Premier League along with Mo Salah. He's just so good. I personally, and I'll say it now, in that Wolves game where he hauled big Kevin De Bruyne, I didn't own him. That hurt me a bit as well, my rank as well. That hurt me a lot. And people who had him or captain or even triple captain were laughing. They were loving life. Absolutely loving life. So I think Kevin De Bruyne is someone I really like. Very low ownership. I think he's at 14, 15%, something like that. I'd love to take a punt on him because we know how good he is.
It's not a punt, is it? It's not a punt. It's just
more. I mean, for the low ownership and just say sod the high ownership of Haaland and just go for him. Obviously, I wouldn't ditch Salah because he's Mo Salah at the end of the day. But if I can find a way to have him and KDB in, ditch Haaland, just have Jesus up front, I'd do that. But I just love KDB. He's just so good. He's just so good. What else were I going to say then? Might just draw a blank now. But in fact, just one more as well with the whole league thing that I'm doing, the prize league. It's just so good and it's going to be exciting. Mentioning names like yourself and everybody, Nathan Bacon, everybody, because I mean, no disrespect, when I've done leagues in the past and it's an open public league, names I don't recognize. It's obviously because I put the code out there, and then when I've done it at the end of the game week and I'm talking about who's doing well, I personally don't feel as excited talking about it because I don't know these people. But having this prize league and knowing you and other guests and like, oh my God, and the people watching know these people as well, follow them as well. I get really, I know I'm going to get really excited talking about it and saying, oh, Nima's doing well or so-and-so. This is why I brought this idea. It's a prize league. Going to give the first place a trophy, personalized and everything like that. I'm still debating because it's over 60 people in it now, which is absolutely fantastic, whether to do a silver and bronze trophy as well to make it a bit more interesting. So I found the website, what I want to do, see if it's still there in another 8 or 9 months' time. But yeah, I really wanted to do this. It's really exciting. So
it just goes, I suppose this is a perfect way of ending the show, really. I mean, it kind of goes full circle with how Elite FPL started and the whole, like, how we take a mini league seriously, or how it's evolved now into a famous rivals league, and the fact that we do concentrate on, like me and Dan and Jason always joke about, and even callers and fans of the show just joke, like, just imagine tuning in to Andy Let's Talk FPL and he's going absolutely ape about the fact that one of his rivals that no one in the world even knows, and he's got all these people watching with bright eyes thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about here? And that's what happens with us. It's like me talking about Wayne Dean, for argument's sake, Crypto FPL, Sultan Saeed, like Blonde, Firetog, Zimmy, all these people that not a single person tuning in, if they even want to tune in, care about. But that person does. And because we know them, not directly know them, but because they've been part of a community for so long, they're then invested in what you want to watch. And when you've got like the passion behind something, about talking about certain teams that are doing really well in your mini league and everything, people just grasp hold of it. And it's the way like lots of, successful podcasts and YouTube channels take off, is because they're passionate about what they do. And once you get that, what you call it, that USP, as Theo Pethitas used to always say on Dragon's Den, what's your USP? And it's, I've got the passion for this mini league. It was before, because we made a moderated decision about the fact that we don't, Firetog, I'm always picking on Firetog, but doesn't want to talk about the Torbay Elite League next year, which is fine. And I completely understood this. And I kind of actually ironically made that decision at the end of the season. I didn't tell anybody, but I was making the decision that we're not going to be talking about that next year. We're just solely focusing on this Rivals League and this new league that I've started. Because like you just said with the chat league, funny enough, with the YouTube chat league, it is literally a reward for the people that were keeping me sane during the solo watch-alongs. You'd have like X amount of people watching and there was only like 2 or 3 people actually chatting with you. And I just thought, why on earth am I talking about this particular team here? And they're not even bothering being in the chat or anything. They're not even commenting about the fact that I'm talking about them. Nah, to hell with it. So I decided, you know what? Let's create this YouTube chat league for people that were always participating, like they are now, that are participating in this chat, because you've got that connection with them. So like I said, it goes full circle with that Show Me the Mane. Fights every single week. Him and Jason always back and forth fighting each other. You then get it with like the call-ins that we get. Like, it will happen this year. I'll be calling people out and telling them, like, you've got to come on the show and tell us why you made this decision to captain whoever. Like, here we are, Gabriel De Rock. Gabriel, why on earth did you even consider triple captaining Neto in Wolves' double game week when everybody was going with triple captain Salah, and yet Neto's come out with 3 goals and an assist, whereas Salah's blank? What on earth was the thought process? It gives you that connection. Whereas, like you said, any generic thing that you're talking about, i.e. the FPL Penguin Community League or the Elite FPL Community League, it's like, I have no idea who this person is. I mean, you've got to do it for the audience, like for a league for people to join in, but you don't have that connection. I think that's the key with everything. If you've got a connection, then you're onto a winner. Onto an absolute winner. I think it's brilliant that you're actually doing this little mini league that you're doing, because like you said, you know all these people, and it will mean that when you do your streams and everything, you can call out these people and just be like, Nathan Bacon, come on the show, you're top of the league. What is going on here?
Yeah, no, just that more, like you said, more for connection stuff, and I just it's going to be fun. Yeah, like just getting people on, and if they're doing well, or keep getting guests on, like, and if they're in the league as well, oh, you're doing well, who's your main rival in that league, who do you want to finish above, you know? It's just gonna be good fun. It's gonna be good fun. But yeah, we'll wrap things up now. We're doing an hour and 42 minutes, Steve-O. Absolutely.
Is this insane. A record for you?
Probably, mate. Probably. But I'll tell you something, absolutely enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed it. And great to see so many people in chat, and names I've not seen for a while from Elite FPL. Great to see so many people. I hope everyone's enjoyed the stream. Do give it a like, subscribe if you want to. But Steve-O from Elite FPL, check out Elite FPL. Absolutely great channel. Him and Jason running it. And also Dan, give him a shout as well, because Dan's
forget Dan.
I like Dan. Dan's the man. Dan's the man. Right, got to give him credit. Come on. But anyway, we're going to go now. But thanks to everyone for watching. Do check out Steve-O, Elite FPL, link in the description. But Steve-O, any last words? Do you want to say? Just throw out.
Thank you for having me on.
No worries. After all that, I enjoyed it totally. Anyway, goodbye, everybody. And thank you for watching. Take care.